Good morning, students. Welcome to online classes. So today topic is nervous tissues. Yesterday we have completed structure of neuron, structure of multipolar neuron. Next, types of neurons based on the presence of number of processes. We know that processes like dendrites and axon, one axon and many dendrites. So based on the number of processes, 5 types of neurons are present in the human beings. 5 types of neurons are present based on the number of processes. So types of neurons based on number of processes. Number of processes. Number of processes. First one. First type of neurons. So first type of neurons are non-polar. Non-polar neurons. Okay, non-polar neurons. Non-polar neurons. So non-polar neurons are having the processes, but there is no differentiation between the dendrites and axon. We discussed about the structure of neuron in the dendrites and axon. Dendrites are the afferent processes which conduct the impulses toward the cell body. Then axon, efferent process which conduct the impulses away from the cell body. Here also processes are present. In the non-polar neurons, processes are present. So this one is the cell body. Cell body having many processes. Cell body having many process. So these process that conduct the impulses towards the cell body and also conduct the impulses away from the cell body. There is no differentiation between the axon and dendrites. Many process, number of process are many process are present, but there is no differentiation between the axons and dendrites. Okay, so these process they conduct the impulses towards the cell body and conduct the impulses away from the cell body are called non-polar neurons. Non-polar neurons are not found in the vertebrates. In the invertebrates, especially cnidarians, example hydras and jellyfishes. In the hydras and jellyfishes, this type of neurons are present. The neurons which are having the many process, but there is no differentiation between the axon and dendrite. So these process that conduct the exercise both afferent and efferent process. They conduct the impulses toward the cell body and conduct the impulses carry the impulses away from the cell body, which are called non-polar neurons. Non-polar neurons. Second type of neurons are called unipolar neurons. Okay, unipolar neurons. Uni means single. Unipolar neurons are having the single process. They are having the single process. So single process that is the axon. Only axon is present. This one is the cell body nucleus. Cell body nucleus and axon. Only axon is present. Only axon is present without dendrites. Are called unipolar neurons. Uni means single. Only one process is present, which is called axon. So examples for the unipolar neurons where these are present. Embryos of vertebrates. Embryos of vertebrates having this type of neurons, unipolar neurons. Unipolar neurons are present in the embryos of vertebrates. Vertebrate embryos like fishes, amphibians, reptiles, aves, mammals. Invertebrates are also having this type of neurons, which are called unipolar neurons. Next, third type of neurons are the pseudo-unipolar neurons. Pseudo-unipolar neurons. Pseudo-unipolar, pseudo means false. Unipolar means single process. Pseudo-unipolar, so false single process. They are having the two process. So this is the cell body. From the cell body, one process is arises. Okay, cell body. This one is cell body and single process. Single process that divides into, that splits into two branches. Okay, single process that splits into two branches. One acts as the dendrite, and second one acts as the axon. Actually here it is only one process, single process. From the cell body only one process is arises, but this process that splits into two branches which acts as the dendrites and axon. One acts as dendrite and another acts as axon, called pseudo-unipolar neurons. So locations, examples for pseudo-unipolar neurons, where these are present. These are present in the dorsal root ganglion of spinal nerve. Dorsal root ganglion of spinal nerve. In the structure of spinal cord, dorsal side, in the structure of spinal cord, dorsal side, one ganglion is present, which is called dorsal ganglion. Okay, spinal cord, dorsal ganglion. This one is the dorsal root ganglion. So it is the sensory fiber, this one is the motor fiber. So here one ganglion is present, which is a type of pseudo-unipolar neuron. Here this is the cell body. From the cell body, two process. One acts as dendrite, one acts as axon. Dorsal root ganglion. This one is called dorsal root ganglion of spinal nerve. Dorsal root ganglion of spinal nerve is example for the pseudo-unipolar neurons. Next, fourth one, bipolar neurons. Bipolar neurons. Bipolar neurons, two processes are present. Okay, two processes are present. One is dendrite, and second one is axon. One is dendrite and second one is axon. So this is the cell body and this one is the axon, and this one is the dendrite. Okay, cell body, axon and dendrite. These type of neurons are called bipolar neurons. Bipolar neurons are having the two process. Bi means two process. One process is the dendrite, second process is the axon. So bipolar neurons. Location where these are present. So these are present in the retina of eye. And olfactory epithelium. These are present in the olfactory epithelium. Retina of eye. In our eye, retina is present. Retina that consists bipolar neurons, and olfactory epithelium which is present in the nose. In the nose, olfactory epithelium is present, which consists the bipolar neurons. Next, last type, fifth type of neurons are the multipolar neurons. Multipolar neurons. We have already discussed about the multipolar neuron yesterday. So, multipolar neuron that consists many processes. In that, one axon and many dendrites. One axon and many dendrites. Single axon and many dendrites are present in the multipolar neuron. In our body, most of the neurons are almost 80% of the neurons are the multipolar neurons. Okay, 80% of the neurons are multipolar neurons. These multipolar neurons are present in the gray matter of brain and spinal cord, mostly present in the gray matter of brain and spinal cord. Okay, gray matter of brain and spinal cord that consists multipolar neurons. Based on the number of processes, 5 types of neurons are there. First type of neurons are non-polar neurons. Non-polar neurons, many processes are present, but there is no differentiation between that axon and dendrites. So they conduct the impulses towards the cell body and also away from the cell body. They carry the impulses from cell body and send it to other part. Then carry the impulses from other part and send it to the cell body. So both the sides. There is no differentiation between the dendrites and axon. Many process non-polar neurons. Location, example, cnidarians, hydra. So examples are most important here. Example, match the following type examples are most important. In a point of view, unipolar neurons. Unipolar neurons, only single process is present which is arising from the cell body. So the single process is axon, only one process. Example, locations where these are present. Unipolar neurons are present in the embryos of vertebrates and some of the invertebrates. Pseudo-unipolar neurons. Pseudo-unipolar neurons, actually only one process, cell body. From the cell body, single process is arises that splits into 2 branches. One acts as dendrite, second one acts as axon. Locations, dorsal root ganglion of spinal nerve. Bipolar neurons. Bipolar neurons, they are having the 2 process. One acts as one is dendrite, second one is the axon. Example, locations, retina of eye, olfactory epithelium. Next, multipolar neurons. Multipolar neurons are having one axon and many dendrites. One axon and many dendrites. So 5 types of neurons based on the presence of number of processes. Non-polar, unipolar, pseudo-unipolar, bipolar and multipolar and their locations. Okay, so examples are important, locations are important. Next types of neurons based on their function. This is about the structure like present processes. Next, based on types of neurons based on function. So neurons are of 3 types called sensory neurons. Sensory neurons, motor neurons and interneurons. Interneurons based on the function. 3 types of neurons are present in the human beings, in animals. So first one, sensory neuron. Sensory neuron is also called as afferent neuron. Afferent neuron. It is also called as afferent neuron. Sensory neuron, it is arising from the sense organ. It is arising from the sense organs and send the impulses. Send the impulses towards the CNS. What is CNS? CNS means nothing but brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord. Okay, so which type of impulses? Sensory impulses. These impulses are the sensory impulses. So sensory neurons that are arising from the sense organ and send the sensory impulses to the CNS. For example, sensory organ, eye. Eye is a sensory organ. So eye, with the help of eye, we see that object. When we see the object, the information which is collected by the eye, that is transported to CNS like brain through one neuron which is called sensory neuron. And these impulses are called sensory impulses. Sensory impulses are arising from the sense organs. They send the sensory impulses towards the CNS, from sense organs to CNS, called sensory neuron. Next, second one is the motor neuron. Motor neuron is also called as efferent neuron. Efferent neuron. It is also called as efferent neuron. So, motor neurons that conduct the motor impulses from the CNS. CNS means brain and spinal cord. CNS to effector organs. Effector organs. They send the impulses from the CNS to effector organs. And these impulses are called motor impulses. Motor impulses. Okay, motor impulses which are arising from the CNS, they are carried to the effector organs through the motor neurons. Second type of neurons. Okay, so first sense organs to brain, then brain to effector organs. Sense organs to brain, sensory impulses are carried through the sensory neurons. Then brain to effector organs, motor impulses carried through the motor neurons. Third type of neurons are the interneurons. Interneurons are present in the CNS. Interneurons are present in the CNS, like present in the brain and spinal cord. Present in the brain and spinal cord. Okay, CNS, interneurons are present in the CNS like brain and spinal cord. What is the function of interneuron? Interneuron that connect the sensory neurons. Sensory neurons are connected with the motor neurons. Sensory neurons are connected with the motor neurons. Sensory neuron, this one is a sensory neuron which conduct the sensory impulses from sense organs to brain. Motor neuron conduct the impulses from brain to effector organ. So here between the sensory neuron and motor neuron there is a connection. There is a connection between the sensory neuron and motor neuron which is present in the CNS is called interneuron. It is called interneuron. Interneuron that connect the sensory neuron with the motor neuron which is present in the CNS like brain and spinal cord. So functionally types of neurons. Neurons are of three types called sensory neurons, motor neurons and interneurons. What are sensory neurons? Sensory neurons are also called as afferent neurons which conduct the sensory impulses from sense organs to brain and spinal cord. Motor neurons conduct the impulses from CNS to effector organs. Interneurons that connect the sensory neurons with the motor neurons which are present in the CNS based on the function. Next, nerve fibers. Okay, so neuron and nerve fibers are also present. Discuss about the nerve fibers. Nerves. So now it is just acts like wires. Nerves are acting like wires. So nerve fibers are present which connect the CNS, PNS. Like in the PNS, nerves are present. Cranial nerves, then spinal nerves. The nerves which are arising from the brain are called cranial nerves. The nerves which are arising from the spinal cord are called spinal nerves. If you see the structure of a nerve just looks like a wire. It looks like a wire and which connect the CNS with the effector organs and sensory organs. So what is the structure of nerve? Nerve fiber. So inside the nerve fibers. So this is a nerve and inside the nerve fibers are present. Okay, this one is nerve fiber. Each nerve fiber is covering with a connective tissue layer which is called endoneurium. It is called endoneurium. Nerve fiber is covering with a connective tissue layer called endoneurium. Then a group of nerve fibers that forms into one bundle which is called nerve fascicle. A group of nerve fibers that forms into one bundle which is called nerve fascicle. It is covering with one connective tissue layer which is called perineurium. Nerve fiber is covering with a connective tissue layer called endoneurium. Then nerve fascicle is covering with a connective tissue layer called a perineurium. A group of nerve fascicles that forms into one nerve or nerve bundle. Okay, now it is covering with nerve. It is covering with nerve. So total it is called nerve, which is covering with a connective tissue layer, which is called epineurium. Epineurium. Same structure we have seen in the muscle also. Okay, in the muscle also we have seen like a muscle fiber is covering with endomysium. Then muscle fascicle is covering with perimysium. Then muscle bundle is covering with epimysium. Here endoneurium, perineurium, epineurium. Endoneurium is a connective tissue layer that covers the nerve fiber. Perineurium is a connective tissue layer that covers the nerve fascicle. Epineurium is a connective tissue layer which covers the nerve. It covers the nerve. So inner to outer layers. Inner to outer layers, first nerve fiber. Nerve fiber. So nerve fiber is covering with which layer? It is covering with endoneurium. It is covering with endoneurium. Then a group of nerve fibers that forms into fascicle. Nerve fascicle. Nerve fascicle is covering with a connective tissue layer which is called perineurium. Perineurium. Then a group of nerve fascicle that forms into one nerve. So nerve is covering with a connective tissue layer which is called epineurium. It is called epineurium. So inner to outer layers of nervous tissues. First inner nerve fibers are present. Nerve fibers are covering with endoneurium. Then a group of nerve fibers that forms into fascicle. Fascicle is covering with perineurium. Then a group of fascicle that forms into one nerve which is covering with epineurium. Okay, nerve fiber, endoneurium, fascicle, perineurium, nerve and epineurium. Next, nerves are also types. Different types of nerves are present which are called types of nerves. Types of nerves. So, types of nerves. Nerves are different types of nerves are there which are called sensory nerves. Sensory nerves, motor nerves. Motor nerves. Next, mixed nerves. Sensory nerves, motor nerves and mixed nerves. Sensory nerves. Sensory nerves that conduct the impulses which are called sensory impulses. Sensory impulses towards the CNS. Motor nerves which conduct the impulses which are called motor impulses. Motor impulses. Mixed nerves. Mixed nerves that conduct the both sensory impulses and motor impulses. Both sensory impulses and motor impulses. So here CNS, central nervous system. Okay, central nervous system, then sensory organs, then effector organs. Okay, so here sensory nerves are arising from the sense organs. Sensory nerves arising from the sense organ and send the sensory impulses to the CNS. Next, motor nerves arising from the CNS send the motor impulses towards the effector organs. Mixed nerves are having the both fibers, sensory fiber is present and motor fiber is present. Both the fibers are present. Okay, dual type, both the fiber, sensory fiber and motor fiber. This one is the sensory fiber, this one is the motor fiber. So both the fibers are present. So they conduct the impulses towards the CNS and away from the CNS. Towards the CNS and away from the CNS. So types of neurons are 3 types, like sensory neurons, motor neurons and mixed nerves. Sensory nerves, motor nerves and mixed nerves. Sensory nerves that carry the sensory impulses from sense organs to CNS. Motor nerves that carry the motor impulses from CNS to effector organs. Mixed nerves, so they conduct the both sensory impulses and motor impulses. Types of nerves. Okay, types of nerves. Right. Next, neuroglial cells. Neuron and neuroglia are the cells of nervous tissues. So we have completed neuron, structure of neuron, types of neurons, types of nerve fibers, structure of nerves, types of nerve fibers. Next, neuroglia. Neuroglia are the supporting cells. Neuroglia are the supporting cells, and also non-conducting cells. Already we know that neurons are conducting cells. Neurons are conducting cells that conduct the impulses, but neuroglia are the non-conducting cells. Just they are not involving in the transportation of the impulses. So neuroglia. Neuroglial cells are present in the CNS and also present in the PNS. Neuroglial cells are present both in the CNS and PNS. What is CNS? Central nervous system. Okay, central nervous system that consists brain and spinal cord. PNS, peripheral nervous system, that consists cranial nerves and spinal nerves. So the cells which are present in the CNS, supporting cells which are present in the CNS are the oligodendrocytes. Okay, oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes are neuroglial cells present in the CNS that forms myelin sheath. It forms the myelin sheath around the axon. That form the myelin sheath around the axon. So already we discussed about the structure of multipolar neuron. Okay, the structure of multipolar neuron. In the structure of multipolar neurons, many dendrites are present and only one axon which is covering with myelin sheath. It is covering with the myelin sheath. Okay, now here this myelin sheath, the myelin sheath which covers the axon of multipolar neuron, it is formed by the oligodendrocytes in the CNS. It forms the myelin sheath. So this layer is called myelin sheath. It is called myelin sheath. And here nodes of Ranvier. Nodes of Ranvier is present. Then internode. This one is internode. Internode, the part of the nerve fiber which is present between the two nodes is called internode. That internode only covered with a myelin sheath. Here oligodendrocyte that form the myelin sheath around the axon. First one. Second type of cells are astrocytes. Astrocytes are the star-shaped cells. Astrocytes are the star-shaped cells. They looks like star. Star-shaped cells that form the blood-brain barrier. That form the blood-brain barrier. Blood-brain barrier that connect the blood vascular system with the brain. Nervous system. Nervous system and circulatory system both are connected by these cells. Astrocytes. Astrocytes are the star-shaped cells which form the blood-brain barrier that connect the blood with the brain. Okay, blood, like blood vascular system is connected with the brain. Brain means nervous system. So blood vascular system is connected with the nervous system with the help of these cells which are called astrocytes. Third type of cells are called ependymal cells. Ependymal cells. Okay, ependymal cells. Ependymal cells are present in the central canal of spinal cord and cavities of the brain. So only present in the central canal of spinal cord. What is central canal of spinal cord? Here, brain, spinal cord. In the spinal cord, in the center, one canal is present. In this central canal of spinal cord, it is covered with ciliated cells, which are called ependymal cells. Ependymal cells, which involving in the transportation of cerebrospinal fluid, CSF. Cerebrospinal fluid is flowing through these ependymal cells by the movement of the ependymal cells. Ependymal cells present in the central canal of spinal cord. Then fourth type of cells are called microglial cells. Microglial cells. So microglial cells are the phagocytic cells. Phagocytic cells. Phagocytic cells present in the CNS are microglial cells, and these are mesodermal in origin. Okay, generally that nervous tissues are ectodermal in origin, except these phagocytic cells, microglial cells. Microglial cells are phagocytic cells which are mesodermal, engulf the microorganism, kill the microorganism. Microglial cells that kills the microorganism. Okay, so these are the four cells present in the CNS. In the PNS also cells are present. Cells are present which are called Schwann cells. Schwann cells. Okay, Schwann cells. Schwann cells that cover the cell bodies of ganglia. Cell bodies of ganglia. What is ganglia? Group of cell bodies present in the PNS called ganglia. Group of cell bodies present in the CNS and PNS. CNS called nucleus, PNS called ganglia. So that cover the cell bodies of ganglia. Schwann cells that covers the cell bodies of ganglia helps in the regeneration of the neuroglial cells only. They are helping in the regeneration. Generally, there is no regeneration of neuron. Conducting cells are not regenerated, but neuroglial cells they can regenerate through the life. Schwann cells. Schwann cells are present. So these are the cells which are present in the PNS. CNS, oligodendrocytes, astrocytes, ependymal cells, and microglial cells. In the PNS also, some cells are present which are called Schwann cells. Where the Schwann cells are present? Schwann cells that cover the cell bodies of ganglia. They form the cell bodies of ganglia. And here, these are the different types of cells which are present in the nervous tissues. Different types of cells present in the nervous tissues. Okay, 5 types of cells are present in the nervous tissues. Right, this is about nervous tissues.